Welcome to the Harrison Boone podcast.
Is it impact that cauliflower's the year, or is it squeezing that cauliflower's the year?
It's usually in back. Usually you see a lot of rugby players using the scrubs.
Yeah.
They whack each other in the sides. But with my one, I remember that one started with a...
That's so fat.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a big ball of fat on your ear.
That's what they feel like. They're like rocks. Well, they don't...
Oh.
That doesn't... Well, that's,
It's gone like cartilage.
Calcified, yeah. It is. It's the short side. It just calcifies. They're cool. It happens once... Because they get it's fucking painful. When it first happens, it's so painful. But then after, like mine happened like 5 years ago now. So it's been sweet for a while, but like now they get.
So once they go hard, they don't hurt anymore.
Once, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, he's might still.
This one,
fairly fresh.
nothing. Just up the top here hurts. The bottom, nothing. Like this one, Peter will have a good try. Try to crush it. He won't.
Yeah,
He won't hurt it.
It's not.
Can we pierce them while you're here on the body?
But put a big bar through it. Imagine that.
You need a freaking drill through it.
Yeah, I'm a chippy, bro. I got everything. Can we shoot it with a nail gun?
Oh fuck.
No. I'm not into that.
I thought you were tough.
Not that tough.
There is a line.
No, that's a line.
Little 1/8 drill bit all the way through it. Imagine that.
So Peter and I met at a bow tie boy event at a gay party.
Oh, hell's right.
So for those that don't know, I'm sitting here with Peter Gallen and
Geordon.
Geordon. Your last name?
Dickie.
Geordon Dickie. And my guests today are here to talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Peter's one of the top grapplers in Australia.
I'm so currently I'd say I'm ranked fairly high at the moment. I do a lot of competing. I have been beaten a few times by some high level guys, but I do like to consider myself one of the best purple belts in the country. Yes. And then
Give us your resume.
My resume, I've been training since I was 10 years old. I'm 18 years now. 19 next month.
What are you going to do for it?
Probably nothing crazy, because got to save, Trying to go back to Brazil this year,
What's the training like in Brazil compared to Australia? Is it like a whole nother level?
It's another thing. Like, I've kind of taken what I did there and I'm replicating it back here. So now I'm working a lot less. I'm training more. Like today, for example, I woke up 5 a.m. this morning, went to the gym to be there at 6 for the 6 till 7 strength and conditioning. And then straight after, I studied jiu-jitsu for an hour. I got a little book I write in. And then after that, had something quickly to eat, chill for a bit, had a little nap, and then I went to the 12 o'clock class. That's for an hour. Did some like drills and then some sparring, and then went home, had a quick meal, went back to the gym and taught the class. And we just got back from the gym then.
Nice. Nice. So your life is basically jiu-jitsu at this point?
At this point, yeah.
Like full-time job?
Full-time, yeah. Like, I go, train, teach.
So you're teaching classes as well?
I teach the kids, yeah.
So what belt are you?
I'm blue belt now.
You're a blue belt.
But I have like 8 years of jiu-jitsu. So like, if I started when I was an adult, if I was 18, now I'd be like brown belt. So, yeah.
Why the discrepancy
so,
if you start as an adult?
What happens is like when you're a kid, they have like the kids belt system, and then when you turn 16, you go into the adult belts. So...
Wouldn't that make you progress faster?
Yeah, so like with the belts it works as like for the kids it goes white, grey, yellow, orange, and then green. So there's 5 belts. So like a green belt has like, if he started from white, like white, grey, he did all the belts, he would have like black belt. Same amount of time, like 10 years. If it was like a kid. Like we have some kids that start at like 3. But you can't give like a 6-year-old a black belt. So they have like the kids belt system.
They have the kids belt system, and then it sounds like you got rolled over somewhere.
And then you
roll.
Yeah, so like for me, I went from orange belt in the kids, and then I went to blue belt, which is like the second belt for adults. So
what would you be if you'd started? So you said you'd be brown belt now
If
you'd started in the adult system.
Yeah.
It seems like it's unfair to not be a brown belt now.
It can be,
Based
but
on
like
how much time you've put into the sport, right?
it can be, but like, man, there's like it's like this for people all over the country. Like, I know kids my age who have been blue belts for 5 years, and just changing over to purple now. You know, like the next one.
What is the system of progression in the belt system? Like, do you have to achieve certain knowledge, or
Not so much. It's just about like. It depends where you train and stuff. Like the way our coach Gio, he runs it as like overall. Like if you help out, how you go in the competitions, if you compete. Some people like to compete, and then some people like to do jiu-jitsu as like a lifestyle.
Is it like a recreational sort of?
Yeah, it can be both.
that's fine. If you have to change over, we'll just give it
Yeah.
a second.
No,
It's all good.
So yeah, for a lot of people that don't understand jiu-jitsu, it's a very hard concept to grasp, especially when you're going through the belt system. So as an adult, there's 5 belts, so white, blue, purple, brown, black. So I started jiu-jitsu a little bit older. I was about 26 when I started, but I've been competing pretty much the entire time. So I think 2017 was my first competition, and then as a white belt, I achieved a fair bit of success. I won a national title as a white belt. At blue belt in the first couple of years, I didn't have as much success, but then at the later end of the blue belt, I started going in competitions and winning, basically walking through competitions, getting gold medals, like left, front and centre. So then my coach at the time at a different club basically had no choice but to promote me to the next belt, which is purple. And that was 2 years ago now. And then once you start from a new belt, it becomes increasingly more difficult to get wins at that belt because you've got guys who have already been there for probably 2 or 3 years. And yeah, but there's no real actual signs of progression. Some guys can get a blue belt, purple belt, brown belt in 3 or 4 years, whereas other guys might start a blue belt for 3 years and then a purple belt for 3 years. It really just depends on how they go as a competitor.
How hungry they are as well.
Well, yeah, definitely. How hungry they are,
how much you're putting into it, how you're progressing.
Exactly, yeah. So that's one thing the coach will see. If you're turning up to training 4 nights a week and competing every month, you're going to progress faster, provided you're showing the skills. I've seen blue belts beat black belts in competition. There are some competitions where you can compete as a blue, like you see, you got comps where you can have a beginners division, intermediate, and a professional division. So I've been competing in the professional division for the last probably 3 years now. And in the beginning, I wasn't having much success. And then the last probably 2 years, I've started to place third and second, and I've even won 1 or 2 divisions as a purple belt, but in the professional division. So competing against guys with brown belts and black belts. But that's more of a no-gi game. And once again, for the people who don't understand jiu-jitsu very often, there's two dimensions of it. There's in the gi, which is your kimono or the pajamas, which a lot of guys will call them, which is basically the uniform that you're fighting. And then you got the no-gi, which is some competitions you can do it without a shirt on. It's just basically it's just the UFC, the MMA grappling component of it. It's just no striking. So it's all your groundwork, all your chokes, all your submissions, your arm bars. And then there's the last few years, there's been this progression into leg locks. There's been a few American guys and Brazilian guys who are amazing grapplers, but they've developed this game to basically break guys' legs. And now, and you'll see there's videos all over the internet of guys breaking their legs doing jiu-jitsu and that.
Why would you want to break someone's leg?
It's not so much that you want to break a leg, but at the end of the day, it is a contact sport. It is more or less a fight sometimes. And just the submissions that with your leg lock game, there's the thing about jiu-jitsu, it's not designed to hurt you. It's not designed to sort of it's designed to break limbs and designed to kill you. If you look at, for the chokes, for example, if you hold a choke for long enough, and I'm not saying...
You kill someone, right?
You're going to choke them to death if you want to, but, guys tap out in the first 2 or 3 seconds. And, I've seen Geordon here go to sleep on the mat once because someone choked him and he didn't tap out in time. I've been put to sleep myself probably 5 or 6 times now on the mats.
It seems to be a little bit of a rite of passage though when you start doing jiu-jitsu to get choked out.
Well, I think
Just to see what it feels like, right?
Well, I think a lot of guys will.
Is that not a standard thing in jiu-jitsu? Like,
Oh, definitely.
when you start off, guys are like, "Oh, I'll choke you out. You see what it's like. Come back. It's fine."
It's Well, it's not so much the guys will say, "Here's what it feels like." It's more so someone on the other end, the receiving end, will be like, "God, I wonder how it feels." And next thing you never know you're going to sleep. The thing is, you're getting choked, and then shit, you wake up and you go, "Oh, I just got choked out." And
So it's like you kind of like, "Oh, I didn't even know what happened."
yeah, exactly.
Not knowing.
You got no idea what's actually happening.
And the thing about jiu-jitsu is it doesn't take a lot to really... obviously, there's a lot in the skill involved in choking someone out, but it doesn't take a lot of pressure, does it, to really choke someone out?
It really doesn't. So it's just all it is you're stopping the blood circulation to the brain, you're stopping the oxygen going to the brain, and next thing I think your body or your brain goes into panic mode and shuts your body down for some reason. And obviously, if you don't tap in time, there's always 10 or 15 people on the mats, and the person choking you, they'll know you've gone to sleep, so they're not going to hold a choke for 5 minutes. Once they're on, you know they're on. So if someone doesn't tap in the first 10 seconds, you generally let them go and go, "Oh shit, they're asleep."
So I've got a choke out story that I'll throw into the chat, right? So when we were in school, and like kids in school always come up with the best ideas, right? And so we were playing this game one day where you take a deep breath, and then someone would come behind you and
On the pole.
they'd come behind you and like basically bear hug you
All the air.
around your arms, right? And so their hands would sort of come out around your chest, and they'd start squeezing, and you had to hold your breath. And I remember waking up on the ground, and my legs really hurt, right? And I was like, "Why the fuck does my leg hurt?" Like, I was like waking up like out of this daze. I had no idea what had happened. My fucking leg was killing me, right? And Roy was the kid that choked me out, like made me pass out from I don't know what caused it. And they're like, one of my mates was like, "Well, Roy didn't let you down in time, and you started having a seizure on the ground, and we thought you were faking it, so we started kicking you." That's my choke out story. So I know what it's like to wake up, and it's like you kind of wake up dizzy, like kind of dazed, like I don't know where I am, what day of the year it is, like you know what I mean, like it's weird, but yeah, also kind of feel like you just woke up from a nap kind of thing, like.
Well, I think it's the weirdest thing. I think your body must go into some sort of reset mode, because the last time I was actually put to sleep was during a nighttime class. And I remember going home that night and feeling so awake and like I had so much energy, and I didn't sleep a wink that night. It's like it's honestly like you've probably had 12 hours sleep. It's a very, very odd sensation for people who have never actually passed out from a choke. It's really hard to explain. So I'm not saying go and choke out your mates or go and choke out your partner, but if you want to go jump on a jiu-jitsu mat, definitely go and experience it, because it's a sport that I think everyone should definitely experience. And once again, I'm not saying you need to get choked out, because it is quite scary on the way to that point. But
there's a few people I'd like to choke out.
I think everyone's got one or two people we want to choke out and sort of watch them convulsing on the ground. That's what happens. It's happened. I think the first time I ever did someone at training, they were on the ground and they were shaking and having like convulsions or a seizure, I suppose. And you shit yourself at first, and then the second time you might shit yourself again, but then the third and fourth time you do it at training, because everyone will put someone to sleep eventually. And the funny thing is, after a few times doing it, you sort of go, "Oh, they didn't tap." It's pretty funny when you see someone go to sleep, you go, "Oh, you dickhead, why didn't you tap out?" Sometimes it's because, you might be rolling with a lower belt, and sometimes you let them get positions, you let them get a choke on, and then you try and get out of it. And
for the training aspect of it.
For the training aspect, but some guys are very proud. Like I've definitely, in the past, I've been rolling with guys when I was first beginning, and they were much, much more higher in the ranks than me, and they let me get positions. The next thing, they've got me in a choke. I've got them in a choke, and they're just like, "Oh shit, hang on, I'm not going to let him finish me." So they won't tap. They'll try everything to get out of it. Next thing, they're on the ground sleeping, snoring. And it's quite funny. And the same thing happened to me. I've done it before. I took my pride onto the mat with me once, and I'll let someone get me in a position where I couldn't get out, and Like
You
I
just
said,
went to sleep.
I didn't swallow my pride.
Is there more? Do you think there's more ego in not tapping?
Definitely. That's one of the things. A lot of gyms you go to, it actually says on the doors, leave your ego and your shoes off the mat. That's one of the biggest things. So you can't go into any jiu-jitsu gym with any sort of ego whatsoever, because you'll get sorted out really, really quickly.
What advice would you give to someone that's looking to start jiu-jitsu as a sport? Because I had Anthony Topic in here not long ago, he's like a boxing fight promoter, a general manager of Team LS Boxing, and also runs like a lot of boxing classes himself. Yeah. And I've spoken to my coach, Stephen Rados, about this as well. And the advice is always quite different depending on who you talk to about joining like a high contact, high impact sport like what I'm involved in at the moment, which is boxing. But I think jiu-jitsu, a lot of people enter it for different reasons. I know like a lot of guys that are doing security now are into jiu-jitsu because it's all about like controlling someone that you want to leave a premises. Police are into it, military are very into it. Why do you think that there is such a high interest from military, law enforcement, and now the civilian world? And what advice would you give to people that are looking to get into the sport?
Yeah, so like
Geordon.
I know a lot that like the Gracies over in America and California, they do a lot of like sponsorships because they're very big in the jiu-jitsu world. They have very big Instagram and stuff, and they actually run a lot of like police training for like grappling and controlling situations, because to be honest, a lot of like, not now they're getting a lot more people knowing how to position, like to arrest people or whatever. But back in the day, like a lot of like cops would get like overpowered by some massive like Sasquatch, you know? But like, that's the thing, like, for example, me, like I started footy, like when I was like 10, 11, I was playing footy, but I was small. I'm still not big, but I was a lot smaller, and one of the guys from my team did jiu-jitsu. So that's why I started to like learn how to fall, because that's what they learn. You learn how to like in the warm-up, front row, back row, side row, like you learn how to fall and like hit the mat safely. And like this stuff saved my life on like day-to-day basis, like skating and stuff. Like I've bumped some hills before and like hit a pebble and gone flying off my skateboard like 50 miles an hour, like going quick.
Straight into a rear naked choke. Front row,
bang. Like you scratched up, but you're sweet. And like some people like to go into jiu-jitsu for this aspect, but also like now I do it as like to feed my ego, you know, like I like to compete, I like to push my body to the limit. And yeah, but for anybody like trying to or wanting to start just having a hobby, like showing up on the mats the first day, just having like an open mindset. Because to be honest, like when I'm at first class, like being this close to like a human and like having to like control it, it's a bit weird. I was like a bit weirded out as a kid, like, oh, like I'm gonna like hug this dude now. But it's a style of fighting at the end of the day. Like
I think once you get over the fact that it is like rolling around close contact with other blokes, and you realize that it's like probably as close to how the gladiators trained, I think you get over that whole like, you know, the skepticism of and the trepidation of like rolling around high contact with it. I don't know, man. I think different martial arts offer different forms of that contact, right? I'd rather learn slowly, like rolling around on a mat, than like doing Muay Thai where you get fucking kicked in the head.
That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu is this thing with Muay Thai, boxing, even MMA, like all the striking aspects of it. I've got this firm belief that you know, a lot of guys, a lot of rough guys today, they can already they've already got some sort of mongrel in them where they can fight, and if they do take up boxing, kickboxing, they're going to get a little bit better. Whereas if you pull somebody out of an office and put them in a boxing environment or a kickboxing environment, they're not going to progress as much. But if you put the same person on a jiu-jitsu mat, they're always going to get better no matter what. The more you turn up, because you don't have to go as hard, you don't have to go 100 miles an hour all the time. Whereas boxing, kickboxing, I think that there is an aspect of, it's a high impact sport. Whereas jiu-jitsu is a high impact sport if you make it a high impact sport. You don't have to go as hard as you want every day. But any advice to any advice to people wanting to try it out is just to go to a local jiu-jitsu gym and just walk in, do a trial class. And like Jordan said, it is quite daunting when, you got other guys, twice your size or even half your size sometimes. You're in very close contact. You know what I mean? Like, I've had guys sweating literally into my mouth before when they top me. And it's not a very comfortable
Yeah, but you're
place.
into that though.
I'm a little bit weird like that. I'm a little bit strange. I don't mind it. But it's one of them things, like Geordie said, you need to have an open mind when you're going into a gym. You're going into a contact sport. You're going into a place where guys have been doing it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not for everyone, but it's something that everybody should experience. As far as police and military aspects of it go, yeah, definitely. There's so many ways to subdue, what would you call them, like a suspect or just basically controlling another human being. And there's ways you can do it, with your body, without a weapon, without any sort of restraints. Like there are ways you can take guys to the ground. There are ways you can control them on the ground without hurting them. And that's one thing jiu-jitsu is really big about is controlling somebody bigger, somebody stronger. There's so many ways.
Using their biomechanics against them.
Exactly. There's leverage. There's a lot of techniques to get people down to the ground, to hold people down without hurting them.
I got my hand twisted once by a guy just showing me a basic hand bar or whatever it's called.
Like a wrist lock or something.
Wrist lock, yeah. Fuck the pain. I was useless. He had my hand.
Yeah.
And he controlled my whole body with that hand.
Yeah.
It was my wrist was bent back and he sort of like had it like this. He had my hand kind of like bent back like this.
Back towards you, yeah.
And he was just walking me around like a dog on a lead. There was nothing I could do.
Yeah, definitely.
And every time I tried to get out of it, he'd just twist my hand a little bit more and the pain was agonizing. Like he would have just broke my wrist if I kept trying to resist, right? So I think there is a way to safely, definitely like lock someone up, have them comply, and do it in a way where you're not doing lasting damage. Like my hand is fine now, right?
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, I'm not saying it's not going to hurt when they do these things. The whole reason that they're going to control someone is because they're going to be in a lot of pain. The more they move, the more chances are that they're going to get a broken wrist or a broken arm, in them sort of situations. But at the end of the day, it takes a lot more force to actually break something, unless someone's got hollow bones or they're not accustomed to that sort of treatment. Sometimes something might break, but you've seen the sort of how forceful some police are to older people and everything, and they're fine. Like what the human body can actually sustain is it's quite amazing. And one of the things you'll learn from jiu-jitsu is watching what guys can do to each other without actually hurting them. Obviously what they're doing hurts at the time, but then they roll off the mat and it doesn't hurt anymore. It's sequences of control.
What would you think? Because I'm quite a firm believer though that if you want to learn self-defense, I think boxing is the best thing for self-defense. But I think if you wanted to do as close to learning the critical skills of MMA, or I would say close contact self-defense, like in a position where, say, someone ties you up, hugs you, whatever like that, I think jiu-jitsu far outweighs any other form of martial art.
Well, definitely. I'll say a lot of gyms have a massive emphasis on self-defense to the extent that to progress through the belts, some gyms you'll actually have to demonstrate, like 10 or 15 like instances where, someone grabs you from behind with their hands over your arms. There's a way to combat that. Their hands under your arms, there's a way to combat that. If someone gets you in a front headlock, there's a way to combat that. And these are all, they're all, you can use these things in a competition. If you're in a competition, you get a taller guy who gets you in a front headlock, there's a way out of it.
Grab their dick and twist it.
Grab his dick and twist it. Kick him in the dick.
That's the way out of all of those things that you described.
There's a pretty much if you can get a hand near the dick, grab it and squeeze it as hard as you possibly can.
That's it. That's how you win jiu-jitsu competitions.
A squirrel grip's a surefire win for sure.
There is definitely a way to get out of really any human hold, right? It's
There
just about
definitely
knowing
is.
how to do it.
There definitely is, 100%. There's look, at the end of the day, if you got a guy who's 3 times his size, twice his size, and they've got a good grip on you, you're not going to get out of it.
Yeah.
But if you've got a guy who's bigger than you, but you've got a higher skill set than him, then there's techniques, there's leverages, there's ways you can get out of it. That are obviously going to hurt the other person. Not going to maim them forever, but you might. Like I said before,
It's about creating distance, right?
Exactly.
In a
creating
self-defense
distance.
situation, it's about creating distance from the threat.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
Whereas in a jiu-jitsu competition, it's about engaging with the threat
Pretty
and
much,
winning.
yeah. In a
So
jiu-jitsu
it's roles are reversed in that instance. Yeah.
Well, exactly. But the thing is, the whole thing about jiu-jitsu is closing the distance and being as tight as possible. You know what I mean? Because as soon as you give someone space, you give them room to escape. If you're chasing some sort of submission, you can't give the person any space because as soon as they have a little bit of room to move, they can escape.
Are you more or less trying to smother someone in jiu-jitsu, like with your body weight and then manoeuvring around them in order to try and lock up their limbs?
Oh,
What's
look,
the main thing you're trying to do in jiu-jitsu?
So there's a lot of different ways to compete in jiu-jitsu and a lot of different ways to train. So with me, I'm a fairly stronger sort of a guy. I'm not big. I'm only
To people that don't know, Peter's built like a human nugget. Like everything about him is just muscular.
So it's good. I'm 5'9" and like 90 kilos. So a lot of my strengths lie in my wrestling and me having the ability to get on top and stay on top. Whereas other guys will play this game where it's called playing guard. They'll sit back and they'll try to get you to engage
Use their
them.
limbs to their advantage.
Yes.
Is that what they're trying to do?
So what they'll try and do is get you to engage them. And then next thing, you can put your foot in one position. Next thing, they've got your whole leg locked up. And,
Yeah, so they're trying to get you to make a mistake
Exactly.
in engaging them.
It's like a game of chess.
Is going straight to guard kind of like a puss out in jiu-jitsu?
Oh, look, I don't think so. It's
I
not,
think
it's
Jordan's
not,
got something to say about
It's
this.
not my game. Geordie's really good at it.
So
Do you go straight to guard, Geordie?
I used to. Lately, I've been working a lot of like takedown and pass. So that's the thing. So in jiu-jitsu, you start standing.
What is takedown and pass?
So I'll explain. So when you start the fight in the competition, you start standing. You tap hands, like show respect, and then it's on.
When they come in to tap hands, that's your time to strike, bro.
Yeah, I've seen people do it if you like.
Nah,
believe
it's
it or not.
dirty,
I've-
It's really dirty.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I've seen it before.
But no
like,
one
some
cares how
people
you
do
win a
it.
fight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, at the end of the day, it's who wins.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. As soon as they come in to show respect, headbutt them, get them down, kick the. Nah. God, sorry, I'm derailing. You're doing really well. I was just derailing it being silly. No, it's good. So you come in, you tap hands, you show
tap
respect,
hands and then the fight starts. So you either got takedown or pull guard. Pull guard means you sit on your back and you fight with your legs using.
Do people go? Sorry to cut you. Do people go straight to their back after they tap hands? Like, is that?
Some people sit, but it's
What?
you're actually not allowed to do this. You have to have a grip.
Yeah, you can't just sit straight there. You have to make contact and then sit back. So
So what happens if? So question time.
Yeah.
What happens if two guys, their game plan is to go to guard?
So
You got two guys holding each other's hands, sitting down straight away, trying to get on.
this happens a lot. So this happens sometimes, and that's the thing. Like the refs want to see someone win. So what happens is like we have this whole scoring system for the sport of jiu-jitsu. So Brazilian jiu-jitsu is the sport, and then Gracie jiu-jitsu is the self-defense aspect of it, if you understand.
So where does the sportsmanship lie in you're both standing and you tap hands? I would have thought that after that point, when you're about to engage, I would have thought it's more sportsmanlike and shows a higher skill set to then take your opponent down from that position.
Yeah.
If they offer it to you, it's kind of like, yes, they're in a guarded position, but it's kind of like they've already gone to the ground. They've already given you a half of what wrestling to them to the ground would have been. They've taken that fight out of it, right?
It all depends on like your strengths. So like for Pete's case, like he's really top heavy. So he's really good at fucking holding someone on the ground.
Right. So you
For me, I'm a bit of both. I like now I'm playing more passing guard. I'm really quick with my movements, but
So you're trying
I've
to get
been
on top
playing
of someone
guard
as quick as
since I
possible.
was 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you're playing top, your goal is to get around their legs and like try and finish them. You know what I mean? Like with arm bars, like triangle, whatever. That shows.
So you're trying to get behind them and
around their
lock
legs.
them in, lock their in a headlock, or what are
Around
you
their
trying to do
legs.
there?
Yeah, it's like a bit of everything, you know.
So usually, so in this case, so just say someone pulls guard on me. The first thing they're going to do is, so there's a point system. So if you, a lot of the time guys don't want first point scored on them. So if you take someone down, you score the first points.
Right.
But when someone pulls guard, if they can sort of get you in a position where they can sweep you to the ground and they come up on top, then they get first points. So by pulling guard, you don't lose points. So the whole thing about it is just trying to score first points. Usually someone like me, I pride myself on my wrestling. So I love it when guys stand up with me because then we both got a good chance of scoring first points from each other. Whereas if they pull guard...
I would find that's more sportsmanlike, right?
It's once again, it goes back to their strengths. Some guys, they don't pride themselves on wrestling. They pride themselves on their ability to sweep the bigger guy or the guy who's standing. But look, as far as sportsmanship goes, it's once again, it's just a sport. Like I think a lot of guys play to their strengths, no matter what the sport is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was that? Next question.
Well, my question was, let's say you're both starting up and then it becomes like a wrestle to the ground, right? That's to get the first point.
Yeah.
That would be called a
And then-
double guard pull.
Oh, no, that's, both guys pull. That does happen. Both guys do pull guard, but the next thing becomes a game of, so one guy has to get on top at this point to score points.
To score a point,
Or
right?
try and submit the other guy from where they are.
Yeah,
Some
and
guys-
you can
some-
basically, as soon as you get a leg bar or an arm bar, like that's game over for the other person
Yeah,
if they tap,
yeah.
right? You're
That's
trying to get them in a position where it's causing them enough pain that they want to tap and make the
That's
pressure
right, yeah.
stop, the fight stop.
That's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
So it's not like you see all your other sports, boxing, MMA, kickboxing, where you've got 2 and 3 rounds and 10 rounds, 12 rounds, whatever it may be. So jiu-jitsu competitions, you've got 1 round and it's just a match. So 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever the rule set is on the day, there's 1 round, and you've got that 5 or 6 minutes to submit the other guy or to outpoint the other guy. And then usually what happens is it's a like a single elimination. So as soon as you lose, you're out. And you have to win to progress through the finals.
So you do 1 round per opponent,
Yeah.
Yes, correct, yeah.
and how long can that round go for?
So depending on the competition, some comps have 8-minute matches, some comps have like a 5-minute match.
8 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah,
8
that's
minutes, yeah.
draining, right? Like
It did.
8-minute round is a long round.
Yeah, definitely. It takes its toll. I've done
People don't understand how long 8 minutes of fighting someone actually is. Like 3 minutes is a long time and especially in a competition setting. 8 minutes is like a long time.
Yeah, definitely. It really is. But that's the thing. Like I said a bit earlier, it becomes as hard or as easy as you want it to be. Sometimes, I've had matches with guys that have gone 8 minutes and we've been standing the entire time trying to take each other down the whole time. And then towards the end of it, one person might get the better of the other one, score the 2 points, and they win the match 2 points. Or you can get them on the ground the first minute or two and then work your way around the legs, get to a control position, try and find your way to their back and choke them. Or
Are you allowed to strike?
no, there's definitely
Absolutely no striking.
Absolutely no striking. There are times when you're trying to get a good collar tie on someone's neck where you sort of
You slap them a bit.
you don't mean to slap them, but depending on who you're versing, if you're versing someone who you know pretty well, like I've versed guys from the gyms who I know really well, and it gets quite heated. So you when you go for collar ties, you're really trying to get a good grip on the back of their neck or something like that.
Yeah,
and you do
make
end
them
up,
feel it.
Yeah, and sometimes you definitely want to know you want to know that you're in a match. You really you want them to know, like, because at the end of the day, it's a contact sport.
It's a contact sport, and the other thing as well is like that split second of that slapping them on the back of the neck while you're bringing your hand in to contact them. If that startles them, that's your advantage.
Well, definitely. Yeah, the other thing is, you can do things like that to try and get them to do something silly. Like, it is a game of chess, If you can get someone to, assert enough aggression to really try and take you down, and then you've got a game plan from there. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can have someone shoot you for shoot a double leg on you, and you can sprawl on them, get to the back and get to a choke. Or, Yeah, and them sort of things happen all the time. You know what I mean? You really try and push guys in a position where they really try and assert a lot of aggression.
I think, yeah, if you can make someone lose their temper, that's awesome. It's like you said, bro, it's a game of chess, but any fight really becomes a game of chess.
Oh, definitely.
It's how much damage you can inflict whilst taking the least amount of damage.
Yeah, true. Definitely. But the game, yeah, like Jordy was saying a bit earlier with, guard passing and being on top. So, once again, anyone who doesn't know what guard passing and, a top-heavy game is, you just have to jump on YouTube and just type in, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guard passing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu takedowns, things like that, just so you get a bit of a better idea. Or, this weekend on Sunday, there's a competition that I'll be competing in if anyone wants to watch. It's in Sutherland Basketball Stadium. So that's the ADCC national titles this weekend. So hopefully I can take out the professional division there. And I'd love to see someone there watch. That'd be good.
Is there much interest in these competitions?
There has been recently. I had a mate come watch me compete a few weeks ago. And he actually said to me during the day, he goes, "Man, I can't believe how many people are here. This is becoming the new CrossFit." And at the time, it didn't really register with me. But then later on, I thought, since UFC's becoming so much bigger, and you got Volks at the moment, killing it in the UFC. We've got an Australian, we've got Gallen.
Draws that attention, right?
Yeah, draws a lot of attention. We had Robert Whittaker hold the title for a long time. Another Aussie. So it draws a lot of people to the sport of MMA. And then the biggest thing, I think, the biggest component of MMA is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I believe. You look at pretty much every single.
You wouldn't have the MMA without Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, no,
right?
definitely not. I mean, look. Pretty much every world title holder has probably got a black belt in jiu-jitsu or a fantastic wrestler. The biggest thing about MMA is the grappling side of it. Obviously, you get these awesome highlight reels where guys are getting kicked in the head and punched and knocked out and stuff like that. And it's awesome to watch.
That's usually about half the fight. The other half is on the ground.
Yeah, definitely.
And the idea of MMA is to gas them out and get them to ground and make them submit.
Yeah, well, it's good to see a lot of the time in the year. You're seeing guys finishing guys with rear naked chokes in MMA. That's huge. The rear naked choke, that doesn't come from boxing or kickboxing. That's jiu-jitsu or wrestling. And yeah.
The MMA side of things is definitely heavily influenced by Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I remember back in the day when MMA was fresh, the Gracie brothers just cleaned people up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty amazing to watch. I've done a seminar with I can't remember which one it was. I'm really bad with names. No, it wasn't Hickson. It was Hoyler Gracie. I've done a seminar with him, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seminar, and I think I learned more in the 2 hours that day. This is going back a couple of years now, but probably the 2 years or 3 years before that day, I reckon I learned more in that 2 hours with Hoyler Gracie than I did in the previous couple of years training. But just absolutely an amazing family to they've pioneered jiu-jitsu. Absolutely amazing to watch. And then you got is it Cron Gracie now in the UFC? Has he fought? Yeah, he hasn't fought for a while. And these guys are absolutely amazing to watch, and the fact that they're continuing that legacy through the ages is just mind blowing. You know what I mean? It's really hard, especially with children myself. Trying to get them to do jiu-jitsu is extremely tough. So
trying to get children to do anything is extremely tough.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you have the right amount of chocolate.
If
you have a good supply of chocolate, you can get young children to do just about anything.
Pretty much anything, exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that's the thing. This family have, I don't know if they force them to or if they genuinely enjoy what they do, but they've pioneered the sport from the 20s, 30s, and 40s up until today. For 100 years, they've been competing, and not just competing, but winning world titles, and and they're still at the top of their game, and their grandchildren will probably do the same thing in 10, 15 years from now. So it's a pretty amazing sport. I think everybody out there should definitely go to a local gym and check it out. Get on the mats, do a trial class, have a go. It's not for everybody. That's 100%. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely everyone should have a go at it. It's something everyone should definitely experience in their life.
Definitely. I'm actually keen to do it. I've got a fight in 2 weeks, but then afterwards I was thinking, because there's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place up in Maroubra, just up the road.
Yep, SJJ, I know the one, yeah.
And I was like, I walk past it sometimes if I'm going for dinner or getting the groceries or whatever. And I look in the window and I see all the guys on the mat rolling around. And I'm like, that looks pretty fun.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't have the time to commit to that. And also, if they pull a muscle or a tendon on me right now, I can't afford it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
100%.
But after the fight, open gate.
After the fight, so me and Geordie would love to have you up at our gym. It's a fair way from here. We're up at Warriewood. Pacheco Jiu-Jitsu at Warriewood, mate. We'd
You
absolutely love
guys
to have
don't
you.
want this smoke, man.
Oh, we don't want to say.
You guys don't want this
I
smoke.
don't know, Finey. He's a little
Jordy's
bit...
laughing a little bit too much. Like he's a little bit too confident.
Geordie,
That-
he's pretty good on. I'll tell you what, before Geordie went to South America, before Geordie went to Brazil and America just recently to compete in the World Championships, I used to be able to pretty much have my way with him on and off the mats, which is a lot of fun. And since he's been
Take that how
back,
you will.
since he's been back, it's like fighting a different person.
Yeah. The
the
camp's
skill-
changed you a bit, you reckon?
Yeah, man.
The skill that he developed over there is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've never seen a transition from, honestly, I reckon I've watched Jordan go from a boy to a man in the space of 3 months just because of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What it did for him over there was unbelievable. And I consider Jordan probably the best blue belt in the country right now, without a doubt. I don't think there's a blue belt in the country that can beat Geordie.
Yeah. Like last year's like ranking, so like the way they base the ranking off is like how much you compete during the year. Last year I debuted at adult belt, like adult division, not juvenile. I finished the ranking at placed 4th in Australia, and I beat number 1
Wow.
at the ACT
Wow, okay.
in the open weight division.
Cool. Very cool.
So, but now, like, after the Worlds, a lot of those guys, we had a big team for Australia going over to the Worlds. So I saw a lot of the guys, like, I've fought before. A lot of them have gone up belt. They've gone to the purple now, and I'm still here, but that's because we're not really sure. I am going to be competing next year at Worlds, so... And that's like
If
the
you go to
main
purple,
goal.
does that put you up in a
It's
whole
like
different...
another thing.
Is that like a whole different league of...
Yeah.
And different league of fighter people you'd be fighting and... Yeah, so does it make a little bit more sense to stay at blue for another year?
Well, that's the thing. Like, for me, it's a belt. At the end of the day, it just holds my gi together. Like, the actual, like... The end goal is to be black belt world champion. That's when you're certified. You're known as the best. But, like, leading up to that, man, most of those guys smash any black belt, like, in Australia. Like, the level from, like, Brazil to America compared to here, it's very big. Especially, like, in the gi. In the gi, I feel like they've developed the game a lot more in these last couple of years while no gi's been blowing up. Because, like, we have these guys like Gordon Ryan, like... all those guys in America focusing on the no-gi, doing really crazy stuff. Like, those guys have been really good for bringing eyes on the jiu-jitsu world. But after the Worlds, I feel like a lot of people have coming back to the gi. It's getting more eyes on it, and it's good for this. Like, doesn't even like have to be the black belts. The blue belts are weapons. Like, what some of the stuff they're doing there is like, it doesn't happen often, you know.
How much time per day and how long would you say you'd have to do jiu-jitsu, like sparring, rolling with people, doing classes, all that sort of stuff, to get to a stage where you are, I would say, more or less good or above average in the sport?
So, at the end of the day, it's like, it's how much you really want it. You know, like, for me at this point, I'm treating it as my job. Today was just jiu-jitsu. Like, right now we're talking about jiu-jitsu. And it's, this morning when I woke up, I was like, thinking of jiu-jitsu. Like, it's consisted, like, my whole day. And those last 3 months, I would wake up, go straight to the morning class. Each class would be, like, 2 hours long. And then have something to eat, go lift weights, and then my day's done by, like, 1 o'clock, you know? And then we would have, like, more study. But, like, for any regular Joe on the day, like, just showing up, like, that's all it is. Like,
But how much time would you want to dedicate to it per day?
So with
an hour or so.
But I think, look, so most classes, so your average class will go for an hour, maybe a little bit longer. But if you were just wanting to progress in jiu-jitsu over a amount of time, it's going to take, it's not just going to happen in 3 or 4 months. It's going to take 18 months, 2 years,
years, right?
To actually to get to a point where you are above average.
I've always had been given the information, and you can correct this if it's right or wrong. Someone told me years ago, and I've kind of never forgotten it. It takes 10 years to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, definitely. Give or take. Like there's guys. There's an Aussie guy named Kit Dale. He did it in 4 years.
Is that like unheard of, or is that?
Look, definitely, it's definitely unheard of. But it's hard to say. But he went from a white belt to a black belt in 4 years. But he was winning world titles at every belt. There's a guy in Australia right now named Josh Saunders, and I have never seen anybody with he's a big guy, 120 kilos, probably 6'4", an amazing athlete. I've versed this guy, I think 3 times now in competitions. Each time I think it's lasted less than a minute that he's finished me. It's taken him, I think, 23 or 24 months now to get a brown belt. And he's already competed on the world stage against the best in the world. And he's been doing jiu-jitsu for 2 years.
And he's on a brown belt. That's 1 under black.
He's 1 under black. But as far as I know, he dedicates,
his life to the sport.
I think so, yeah. Like, he's probably doing a session in the morning, a session at night, plus his weight sessions and all that sort of stuff. Plus
taking it like seriously.
He definitely takes it seriously. And once again, amazing athlete, amazing competitor.
So to the average Joe, you'd say after a few years, you'd be pretty good at jiu-jitsu.
Definitely.
But
for the average Joe.
Yeah,
but the thing is, for guys to become above average, the average Joe, if he wants to become above average, he needs to be competing probably at least, 2 or 3 times a year. If he wants to be above average as a blue belt, as a purple belt, as a brown belt. But then
Is the idea of competing so that you're coming into contact with other people that are going to stress test you?
I think definitely. So with me, for example, I love to compete because I'm a very proud person. I love to take pride out of the fact that I've challenged myself. Yeah, definitely. And I love the challenge. I love turning up. I love the butterflies that I get before I compete. I'm an ex-footballer, and I played a lot of rugby league. I played over 100 games in the Queensland Cup, and I not playing footy for the last 5 years. I really miss that competitive side of things. I really miss really challenging myself. And jiu-jitsu has given me a whole nother avenue to explore a challenge. And the thing is, a lot of guys will compete because their clubs might say, all right, you know what, you're due for a blue belt, you're due for a purple belt, but we want to see you compete. So some guys might progress through their belts that way, whereas other guys are not interested in competing whatsoever. They do it recreationally. They train 2 or 3 times a week because it's really good for their fitness, it's really good for their mental health, it's really good, to get out of the house. And, that's the way some guys progress. And in that case, you're probably looking at 10 years for a black belt. 10 to 12, 13, 14 years for a black belt. It doesn't just happen, There's
those guys that aren't interested in competing to prove where they're at skill-wise, they're probably going to get a black belt based on the fact that they can do all of the tasks to a high standard, but they haven't necessarily been in competition, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you go and compete and you're beating other purple belts and stuff like that, it's probably like, okay, time to go to black or...
to brown, yeah. So
to brown.
You have to progress more than 1 belt. But that's the thing. You'll the competitive side of things. Some guys will they'll win a comp at a blue belt, and then you can never ask to be promoted. The only person that's going to promote you is your coach, is your respective coach at the time, and that they'll decide when you're ready. It's not like you can go and just go in a competition and say, if someone thinks they're good enough to compete as a brown belt and they're only a blue belt or a purple belt, they have to compete as a blue belt. They can't just go and jump in a comp. And the next thing is they go and compete as a blue belt. They win that comp. They do it again. They win the next comp. Sooner or later, the coach is going to have to give them a purple belt, and then they progress there for the next 12 to 18 months. So it's definitely not a.
What changes when you go up the belt system?
That's a really, really hard question. I can never answer this one. But the thing is, I think the biggest thing is just your consistency, turning up on the mats. Just being there week in, week out. And the thing is, you're never going to win every comp. Some guys go in and win every comps. There are freaks out there. There are guys that can do it. But what changes is probably your attitude on the mats. I think just turning up and just doing the right thing, making sure you still, even staying back and cleaning the mats after the class, giving the mats a mop, things like that. But as far as,
showing respect for the gym.
Yeah, respecting the gym, respecting your opponents in the gym. Like I've heard stories, before I joined my gym, there was guys that came in probably with a chip on their shoulder and, they're running around submitting everybody. But they weren't there to learn, they were there to chase submissions. And the coach has gone, you know what, I appreciate your time, thanks for coming, but
you're not what we want at the gym.
You don't fit in here, you don't quite fit in here. And that would happen at a lot of gyms. But the thing is, if you're turning up to gyms looking for submissions, that's fine, you can do that. There are gyms that will accept you, but if you're going there because you want to learn, you want to develop skills, you want to be better at jiu-jitsu, you want to be a better person, that's one of the biggest things about jiu-jitsu is just developing skills over time. And, if you got a competition, go for gold. Go try and submit everyone. Do whatever you can to submit them. That's good. That's competition.
I feel
that's
like that's the place for that.
Definitely. It definitely is.
I feel like competitions is the place to go and chase submissions.
100%.
I feel like at the gym you train at, it should be treated as like, this is where I do my homework, and competitions is the test.
Yeah, definitely. But they're in the gyms, like we do have a competition class every Friday. And that's the time where you can really showcase your skills. There's me and Geordie get together and try and rip each other's hands off.
Internal competition in the gym.
No, not internal competition, just a class where it's a simulated competition.
That's what I'm saying. It's an internal.
Basically internal competition, yeah. But it's more of a simulation. So you're
in the gym where you're versing the people that you train with every day.
Exactly, yeah. And you really get to put everything into practice you've done through the week. So
that's beneficial. I mean, it's in a controlled environment. You're not going 100%, or maybe, I don't know.
There's definitely times where you go 100%.
And you're trying to make each other better for the competitions.
That's
right?
what it is. That's all it is. Like I said, developing skills over time. Me and Geordie good mates, even though I'm, 12 years older than you, 13 years older? 13 years older than Geordie? That's like, I'm a little bit older than Geordie, but we're good mates, and off the mats, we show a lot of respect to each other, and then on the mats, we get there and we really, really try and cause each other damage.
Let me ask you a question, and I can only really come at it from the boxing side of things. So when I learnt boxing, it was with an end goal in mind, and that is to compete and fight. And I had to get fight ready in 10 weeks, amateur boxing fight, right? And so the break-in period was very abrupt. It was like I was basically a human punching bag for probably the first 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it hurt and it sucked, and everything hurt all the time. And I'd come home with blood all over my face, nose fucked up, ribs caved in, like I was getting pounded, right? And it's only now that my skill set is increasing that's happening less frequently.
Yep.
But the thing is, I told myself I'd rather it hurt in training, so it would hurt less in the fight.
Yep.
Right. So, but the thing about boxing is, it does hurt. Right, it physically hurts when someone punches you in the face.
Very high impact sport.
Yeah, it's a high impact sport, right? That's what you sign up for. You know that if you're going into boxing, you don't have to do it right away. You can build your skill set up so that when you do step in and spar someone, and you can start off light. I didn't have that luxury, but the average Joe can do that, and then you can build up to higher and higher contact. My question with jiu-jitsu is, does it hurt? And if it does, can you build up to it at a pace that you're comfortable with?
It's a good question. See, like I said earlier, you can go as hard or as light as you want. There are weeks where you're gonna just do positional training. You might start just you might try and work from attacks from one position, and you're not going 100 miles an hour, so the impact is not going to be as high. But like saying, a lot of guys to progress, you can't go 100 miles an hour all the time because you're just going to burn out. There have to be days and weeks where you go lighter, where you try and develop skills under pressure from different positions, and you work your way out of positions. And then there's times you start on the back. For example, you want to try and finish your rear naked choke. There's no point in going 100 miles an hour trying to get to the back. You start on the back of your opponent, and then you give yourselves a minute to submit or escape. So there are definitely times where you have to go a little bit slower, and there are definitely times where you got to go a little bit harder.
So you start on someone's back.
That's positional training, yeah. So if you're trying to, for the person on the back, they're trying to finish, they're trying to submit the guy, and then for the person who's got the other one on their back, they're trying to escape. And once they escape, you start again on the back, and then same thing.
Is there any part of that simulated training that hurts?
No, well,
or is it uncomfortable?
It's definitely uncomfortable. I suppose if someone gets you in a rear naked choke and they've got their forearm across your neck, it's pretty much, if you're going to get like a baseball bat across someone's neck and pull it back towards yourself, that's how it feels. You got someone's bones going across your neck. It's quite painful.
Yeah. So it's uncomfortable. It does. There's like an element of pain, but I mean, by that stage, surely you have signed up and are kind of aware that what's going on, and you're probably more or less mentally ready for it. That's not happening to you on day one, is it?
No, definitely not. No, definitely. There's a reason. There's beginner classes and there's advanced classes. There's all different ways to begin. But as far as pain goes, like I say, a choke is not so bad, but then you got things like your arm bars, your shoulder locks, your leg locks, your wrist locks, all those sort of things where you're attacking joints. And the thing is, you're not there to try and hurt the person. If you hold on to one of these submissions long enough, you're going to break a wrist, you're going to break an arm, you're going to break a leg. That's what jiu-jitsu is designed to do. It's not designed to hurt, it's designed to break you. That's why guys tap out into them. So to answer your question, there are times where you are going to get hurt because some submissions come on very, very fast. And sometimes you can feel it coming, so you can tap in time. But like I said, in a competition class or in a competition itself, sometimes you're trying to escape an armbar, and next thing you've got a torn ligament in your arm somewhere. And it sucks. That happened to me last year. I had a guy have me in an armbar, and I thought I had an avenue out, and the next thing I heard something, I actually felt something pop, and it's actually affected me for a long time. That arm's still not great. But, it can hurt. I'm not saying it doesn't have to hurt all the time, but the harder you train, the more chances you have of getting hurt. But that's the thing, it just comes back to how hard you want to train. If you want to be competitive, you got a higher chance of getting hurt. If you don't want to be competitive, if you want to do it recreationally, which a lot of people do, chances are you're not going to get hurt.
Yeah, see, it was actually, I thought it would make a cool podcast if we actually met up at that gym. We rolled around for like half an hour or whatever.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
Taught me a few like basic stuff. Then we have a little competition, and then we did the podcast. But that story you just told about that ligament going pop, I just can't afford that at the moment. But I did think about it. I was like, oh, should I invite him to go and do that and blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, the thing about jiu-jitsu or any sport, any high contact sport is like, yes, you can control yourself, but also sometimes it's all about like, show you how good I am. Next minute, my arm's fucking dangling down near my knee. So I just couldn't afford to take the chance of rolling around on a mat with two guys that are very, very, very deep into the jiu-jitsu world. And worse, if I tried and put myself in a stupid position and I hurt myself, I just didn't want to take the risk. But I did think it would have been a cool podcast to meet up on the mat. You guys teach me a few things, Then we have a little see if I've picked anything up or blah, 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 see how it go. But I just couldn't take the risk. But I did think about it. I thought it would have been a cool podcast.
Yeah, bro, man. And that's
after my fight, though, we'll do it.
Yeah, for sure. Like Saturday morning, we have open mats. Like, this is for anybody that shows up. Anybody can show up.
You reckon I could make Geordon tap?
Well, I can't even make him tap. He's like I said, he's developed. In 3 months, what happened to him was just I've never.
You
seen
just
it
see
before.
as he's walking into the gym, I just sprint from the car park and just jump on his back.
Just jump on his back. I reckon I'd have to hold his hands by his side. You'd have to hold his hands and he can get his neck and back. But no, it's
that's confidence right there in your abilities.
Definitely. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for Geordon as a person. I have a lot of respect for Geordon as a competitor. And above all else, I have respect for him as a teammate. I believe, like I'm 33 now, my competing days are probably numbered. Geordie's 19 years old, you know what I mean?
He's only just started, bro.
He's only just started, he's got a long time ahead of him. So if I can, someone like Jordan's going to help me progress as much as I possibly can in the next couple of years, and then vice versa. I'm going to do my best to help Geordie get to his goal, as a world champion. And that would be amazing to watch Geordie become a world champion. And I'd invite anybody else to come watch him as well. Cause he's
I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to go to a competition and check it out.
It'll be good fun. Next weekend, me and Geordie are going down to the ACT together, and we're going to compete for the ACT state titles. So yeah, I'm going in 4 divisions. So I'm got the gi and no gi in my weight division and open weight. I think Geordie's still in the gi. Is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna, cause I went there last year and I won it. So I'm actually cutting weight now. So last year I fought middleweight and then the open weight. I won double gold.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. I've won all my fights in the middleweight by submission, and then all my fights other than my second one I won by submission. But the guy was like 97 kilos. This guy was like 6 foot. He was tall. I'm a tiny guy. I'm like 5'6". Like
5'6". How many kilos are you?
Right now I'm walking around 73ish.
And what's your fight weight?
Fight weight 70 now.
70 kilos.
70 kilos.
And Peter, what's yours?
So right now I'm actually cutting weight so this weekend I've got to be 83 kilos, and right now I'm still about 87, so I've got to lose 4 kilos by Sunday.
How are you going to do it?
Sauna? I've been in the sauna, the Savo. Today I think I've had a piece of salmon and a couple of almonds. That's about all I've had today.
Oh,
so
fuck.
I'm struggling. I'm sitting here starving right now. I've had a bit of water, so no, it's just all sauna and just sort of really watching.
I'm going to bring out the cheesecake in a minute.
Oh,
We'll see how strong your will is.
Man, we're both on weight cuts right now.
Yeah.
So we'd have to see.
I'm bringing out cheesecake and ice cream in a minute just to test the boy. I can't even eat it, but I just want to see how strong your will is.
Willpower.
Today I had chicken and salad. That's it. Like,
I know your weakness would probably be a few beers.
Yeah,
and a bit of barbecue and bread or something.
I do love a beer. I think anyone that knows me, I've actually been really...
I feel like Jordan's weakness would probably be like maybe you probably got a sweet tooth, Geordie.
I do.
Yeah, you got a sweet tooth. Yeah.
Man,
I'd get you with the bag of Maltesers, I reckon.
Last year I was 13 kilos heavier.
13 kilos?
13 kilos.
Were you just eating more?
Man, I was a little fat shit.
Really?
Man. But then I started...
So jiu-jitsu and the discipline has got to you, has it?
No, because I was really serious about my jiu-jitsu back then as well. But like, now I'm taking it serious. I want this to be
for
my
competitions, right?
career. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like now there's a lot of people making career off jiu-jitsu, living just off jiu-jitsu. This hasn't really happened that much in the last 50 years. It's still a baby sport.
Yeah,
now
definitely.
people are making money off it, making
bank off it, right?
rich people
Look
off
at
just
Volkanovski.
jiu-jitsu. Yeah, Volkanovski off the UFC. Gordon right now on just jiu-jitsu. And now I watch what I eat.
You have to for
my
competitions,
body.
right?
Yeah.
You have to make weight.
I recover my body, physio sessions, jiu-jitsu trainings, cardio.
Do you enjoy
weights.
physio?
It's what I have to do. It sucks.
I fucking hate
It's
physio.
painful. I've got this little hip click I found out. This has been an ongoing thing since I was 14, 15, and I finally got it checked the other week, and now it's
What'd they say it is?
I got an X-ray and I got a little anatomy problem with my hip, tiny little thing, but it's creating a little a nick in my hip. So for this I need to before I come to the training I need to warm up my hip.
All your enemies guys are listening to this right now. Learning your weaknesses. Mine was I went to physio and because I was getting pain in my right ankle. I didn't know what it was. And kind of like a sprained ankle.
Yeah.
But it was not going away, and
It's
I'd get
just
and so I'd
in
run
the
on it,
cold
and then
stuff.
at night when I'd go to sleep, I'd put the heat cream, deep heat. I'd
Tagabalm
put
or
deep heat on it,
And
and it would just throb, it'd just be throbbing pain. So I went to the physio, and what it was I'm putting so much stress on my right calf because that's my power leg in boxing. So as I'm moving around the ring and then throwing power punches, my right calf is tensing, under the load. Mm-hmm. And because I've never used it that much before, I've gone from nothing to super high impact.
Yeah.
Over the last 6 weeks, I've just tightened that right calf up to the point where I've got you do like a bend test on your knee. So basically, you put your foot off a wall and you bend your knee up against the wall, and you start moving your toes back to see how much movement you have. Yeah. And my left was like 120 mil, and my right was like 25 mil. That's how tight my right calf was. I couldn't even bend my knee past the line of my toes. And the physio's like, yeah, we've got to work on this, right? So takes me over to like light massage, and I'm like, oh, this is all right. Like, the physio's not too bad. And he's like, okay, lie on your stomach. Boom. And then, bro, seriously, like, I felt like I was being like torture interrogated. I started saying shit that I have never said to anyone just to make the pain fucking stop. Hey, like, bro, he got like started admitting things. Yeah, bro. I admitted to shit I hadn't even done yet. He got his fucking forearm, bro, and was like rolling pin it up and down my calf, bro. I was in so much pain, right? Like, I was gripping the leather of the massage bed, and man, I was sweating. That's how much pain I was in. Yeah. And he's like, we got to do it because I got to like loosen up this calf.
It's got to be released.
Yeah. Physio sucks, man.
They do say it's quite painful, and look, I've never been a big fan. Look, I don't mind getting a massage every now and then. The worst one is your ITB down on the side of your leg. You know, when someone gets their elbow into that one.
Ooh, yeah, it's tender, isn't it?
It's funny, my defence mechanism for the pain on a massage table is laughing. So I went to a Thai massage place a little while ago. I ended up getting a bit of a surprise towards the end of it, but anyway. I had no idea it was what it was. Anyway, no, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But
sports massage. We rub everything down. Yeah.
Sports massage. But I remember when she was getting into my ITV, I was just on the side of the table, just pissing myself laughing. She goes, "What's wrong? I'm just sitting. It's my defence mechanism. It's just to laugh. That's all I can do. It hurts. But fuck it, if I just try and laugh my way through it, it's a weird defence mechanism, but it works for me. That is what it is."
Yeah, and she's like, "I've made you laugh. Now I'm going to make you come."
Oh, it's good. Well, pay for an hour massage. I was only there for about 7 minutes. So I didn't know what to do with the extra.
This is weird. Stop trying to grab my dick.
I didn't know what to do with the extra 52 minutes. What do I do now?
And 7 minutes was her working on your ITB. It was about 8 seconds on the other thing.
It was a bit of fun. Nah, but the massages are, physio it's definitely rough, and they've got their work cut out for them. It must be a tough gig, I suppose probably a lot of fun for them as well, watching these, especially footballers, these massive 120 kilo guys, and they can, have them screaming in pain, with their forearm, even, just a couple of fingers, on the side of their leg and the ITB, you know about it straight away.
Man, I think the weird thing too about doing, especially high impact sports is, you start using things on your body that you're not actually conscious of, and they start tightening up. And then once you go to a physio and they start actually doing like all these tests on you, you're like, man, my glutes are real tight. And then they have to massage like inside of your glute muscle, like on the where you were talking about your ITB that runs up your thigh.
The side,
the side of your glute, on the side of your bum.
Yeah.
Mate, that, if they start pushing in there, that is agonizing, bro.
Dude, I had this done on me like last week. Man, like with my hip. So what's wrong is like years of like playing guard, having adults. I used to train the adults class when I was a kid, like 15, 13, like against like.
That's crazy.
Adults. Like I was like a little kid. I was like 40, 50 kilos against like full grown men. Having playing guard, like them pressing against my legs, like all this pressure on my hip bones, like over the years, man, like it's just like it's gone bad. Like so last week, man, like the guy, our physio, his name's Bruno, man, this guy does magic. Like now my hip's fine, but the things he had to do to me, like elbow right in the back of my hamstring and the glute, like muscles that I like tingling and sensations that I've never felt in my life. This guy just banged with his thumb. He put something on. I was like the whole thigh just.
Where did he put his thumb?
Nah, on my hamstring, on my hamstring.
Oh, right.
On my hamstring.
Okay. Just trying to make sure, because
Yeah.
this is an adult-friendly podcast.
Ah,
Boys, anything you want to wrap up with, just to send a message out to people that want to get involved in jiu-jitsu or come to competitions and just try and like get a bit more eyes on the sport?
Yeah, look, the biggest thing about jiu-jitsu in Australia at the moment is it's definitely not a spectator sport at this point, but there are so many competitions week in, week out in Sydney, all over the country. There's competitions everywhere, and I'd really, really encourage anybody to go rock up to, just look online. There's a site called smoothcomp.com, and all the competitions are all based on there. They're all the information about them there, the locations, the times and everything. Go and have a look at the comps. Go and have a look at it. Like, one of the biggest things we want, is trying to get sponsors. We want to send Geordie back to the World Championships again. I want to compete all around the country. I want to compete on the Gold Coast again soon. So it'd be good to get some sponsors on board. Get some more spectators there. Prize money in the competitions would be amazing. So sponsors on the competitions. So, I'd really, really, really love to see guys get to the competitions, actually watch, talk to the competitors, because we're the same as everyone else. We can, we're all battlers, we're all work full time. It's not our full time job. We're not NRL players. We really love what we do. And, we want to show everyone how good we are at it. We want to show people our skills. We want to, share our knowledge. It's awesome. So if anybody's interested, jump on smoothcomp.com, have a look at where the competitions are, have a look at the times, rock up. And support your people, support your family, support your mates. And if you haven't got deep pockets, jump on board. I'd love to put somebody's name on my gi or on my shorts.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So, where can people find you?
So my Instagram link is Galza_13. That's GALLZA _13.
Just send you a DM there. Anyone that's looking to sponsor.
I'd absolutely love it. If anything would be appreciated, even just entry fees and competitions. That's nothing much. That anything's appreciated. But yeah, that's my Instagram, Geordie.
Yeah, like that's
all we have time for. But no, I'm kidding. Could you imagine?
Oh,
Could you imagine? His face would just drop like.
Nah, but like that's the thing. Like that's what we're trying to do. Like
Yeah. Where can people find you, Geordie?
my Instagram, Geordon. It's my name, Geordon Dickie BJJ. But my name's spelled a bit different. It's GEORDON, and then Dickie DICKIE BJJ.
Mad. And are you? You're obviously in a position where you'd love to get a couple of sponsors behind you.
Yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. I want to make this like my life.
Yep.
This can only really happen with these like helps. Like
Mate,
now,
I got sponsors for my
Yeah.
fight. Like it
it
you
helps
can't do it without
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
It helps so much. Like what Pete said, paying registrations, like traveling, like this stuff is hard for us competitors to get a hold of. Like we have to stop training to work, and then we have to stop working to train. You know what I mean? It's like a battle always, and like this helps, like to help us get better, to help Australian Jiu-Jitsu to grow, and to make a name for ourselves. Like this is like
Yeah, man.
the big thing we want.
Well, we could be sitting here with future world champions. So, yeah, and people out there, if you've got a sports business or a brand that you want to launch, or even a company that's been going for a while, and you're looking for a new athlete, Geordon and Peter are they're looking for that help and help grow the sport in Australia. What a great opportunity! So.
Very good. Like I said, any help would be unbelievably appreciated. So yeah, please reach out, guys. Please.
All right, boys. Thank you very much for coming in. This has been a great
Thanks
chat.
for having us. Thanks, legend.
Oh, good.